morning routine. I'm sick. Regular, schmegular. Coffee? Definitely not. Exercise. Cheerios? They ain't great. Let me tell you, it ain't great. I have a toddler. I am tired.
I'm Katie. I'm a high-achieving ADHD, multi-passionate girl. I'm a mom, a wife, a business owner, and I'm obsessed with optimizing my life. But unfortunately, we can't optimize habits we never start. This is Stuck, the show where we stop collecting personal development like it's a hobby and actually do something with it. Every week, we pick one thing we swear we were going to do, and we figure out how to make it work in a real, busy, slightly chaotic life.
If the idea of a morning routine makes you feel more behind than you probably already are, then this episode is for you. This is Stuck, and this is the show where we stop continuously learning about all the things we need to do and we just start doing them, but in a realistic way because we're real people. So this week, we are building our miracle morning, except for instead of calling it a miracle morning, we're calling it a realistic morning because we are regular schmegulars and we already know what we've got to do. We just need to make it a little bit more digestible so we can actually start to do it. Morning routines are like the darling of the personal development world. I feel like they're everywhere. There are literal identities built around them, like the 5 a.m. club or the morning club. We've got the Miracle Morning book. I mean, there's whole podcast episodes. There's whole social media accounts dedicated to being a morning person and having somewhat of a miracle morning. The thing, I believe in a morning routine. I get it. I've read enough content. I've seen it work for enough people. I subscribe. But I also snooze, And the problem is not that morning routines don't work. The problem, or let's call it the obstacle, we'll frame things positively here, is that we've been sold a version of the morning routine that works if you have ample free time, no kids, obviously no ADHD, and apparently don't need a lot of sleep, right? We're figuring out what that realistic morning routine looks like and why even a small version of one can actually make a big change. So here's why morning routines are important with receipts. Let's hit it. Okay, so if you're not already familiar, here's what the latest research says. And honestly, it's pretty fascinating and quite compelling if you ask me. The first 90 minutes after you wake up actually sets the neurological tone for your day. It even affects our decision-making for hours after. Kind of wild. I have ADHD, there's no surprise there, and I really struggle with decision fatigue. So this part I found extremely interesting. Studies on decision fatigue actually show the more of those decisions that you make in the morning without intention actually set up your day with more of a chaotic tone and essentially derail your neurological ability. You make worse decisions as the day goes on. So if you're fumbling around in the morning and not doing things with intention, your decision making, it ain't good. So here's the deal. For me, every time I wake up and immediately open my phone or Instagram, I've already wasted cognitive energy on a completely unintentional task. In fact, a meaningless, mindless task to start my day. That's not gonna help me out, especially as a neurodivergent girly. There's also some really interesting data on implementation intentions, essentially if-then thinking. So this data shows that those people who intentionally decide what they're doing the night before or the day before, the following morning, they're more likely to actually do it. So, you hear about people setting out their workout clothes, their book, their journal. Those people are setting intentions and putting a sort of metaphorical stake in the ground that they've decided how they're gonna own their morning. Those people that are setting themselves up for success the night before, they're not more disciplined. They're just making the decision ahead of time. They're being more intentional with their future choices. So here's what I feel like is missing from all of those miracle morning routines that we see. Nobody's really talking about the fact that we don't need all of those steps. We don't have to take a cold shower if we don't want to. We keep telling ourselves we know we need to take care of ourselves. We know we need to do this. But the thing is if it's done first thing in the morning, nobody can really take it away from us. Here's the disclaimer. You're allowed to do this poorly. You're allowed to do this half-assed because here's the thing, you're the boss and any intentional decision is a step in the right direction. Let's get unstuck when it comes to our mornings. So option number 1 is the 5-minute anchor. You're picking one thing you're already doing every morning, that non-negotiable. For me, something I'm already doing every morning is I'm brushing my teeth. Even if my son is already up, I've got to brush my teeth before I get him. Otherwise, it could be hours. So before or after brushing my teeth, I'm taking 1 minute, nothing crazy, 1 minute that I'm going to be intentional. So maybe that's taking some deep breaths or doing some box breathing before I brush my teeth. And then after I brush my teeth, maybe it's putting on 1 layer of moisturizer and 1 layer of sunscreen. I don't have to have a full face of makeup, but I'm making intentional decisions that are going to become habitual. I was talking to a friend the other day and she was like, I think the hardest thing about mornings is no morning is the same. The kid wakes up at 5 a.m. one day and 7 the next. It's just not as rote and as routine as we're making it sound, which is why the 5-minute anchor is key. Option 2 is leading heavy with conviction. This is the no phone window. Rolling over and not touching your phone. I know for a parent or someone that has kids like me, I don't feel as comfortable with this one. I like to see what he's doing on the monitor. So I'm leaning towards the 5-minute anchor personally, but if I didn't have kids, I think this would be exactly where I jumped. Number 3 is the question reset before you start your day. This is a routine that's happening as a part of your internal dialogue. Maybe you want to write it down, but probably not, seeing as how most of us don't really have a solid routine yet anyways. So maybe this is more of an internal dialogue. It's the 3-question habit that you're building. What's one thing I need to do today? Really like eat the frog. Like, what needs to get done? How do I want to feel today? What am I intentionally choosing as I walk throughout the day? And number 3, what do I need to protect today? I'm gonna go with the 5-minute anchor, and I'm excited to add some intentional meditation and breathing, something I've been wanting to do anyways. So if I'm only doing it for 60 seconds, that feels really doable. And then making sure I'm wearing sunscreen because summer's coming and that's really important to me. And I can't keep complaining about my melasma if I'm not doing anything about it. That's what this is about. We are stuck. We are not doing anything about the things that we want to change. So it's time to change. For those of us that are truly stuck, if you're watching this show and you're thinking to yourself, like, I am truly stuck when it comes to a morning routine, I do not suggest that you go and try to add a full workout routine 3 days a week or even 1 day a week, like baby steps. Consistency builds habits. We're adding intentional decisions because let's go back to that research. The intention is what helps us neurologically. We are making intentional decisions rather than chaotic decisions. So say it with me. I am not setting a 5 a.m. alarm and starting a complete new identity. Saying this for myself too. We are making intentional decisions. That's ultimately the purpose of this episode, is to help us go from feeling stuck, like we're not sure what to do with our morning, to making one intentional anchor decision, just one. This is Stuck, where we stop learning and actually start doing. Even if it's messy, even if it's unconventional, we are doing it together. I am doing it with you. I will see you next week. Good luck with your morning routines.